Hello,
Hi.
my name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks.
And my name is James Maynard, otherwise known as Sweet Baby James. I'm handling the chat tonight. And by the way, welcome to Lighting the Way, Granny Raps and Rocks. And we have the opportunity to rock with Granny. I'm handling the chat. Please chat with us so Beth can chat with you.
And if you write to us after the live show, that's fine because I will, when I see your comment, I'll reply. So I want to tell you what we're talking about tonight.
Pray tell.
The topic is meet me at the corner of optimism and despair.
Wow. Which side of the street do I get to go on?
Any one that you choose. So, let me tell you a little bit about this show. And, well, you know, if you've been watching our show, that I do commentary about the human condition and play the piano at the same time. But tonight's show started with a conversation I had with myself this morning.
I see.
So I want to tell you that I really don't know what to say about this topic. But see, last time I was optimistic. So today we got a new lavalier mic, and that was supposed to solve all my problems, and that this microphone would not be ending up in my mouth on a regular basis. But did it work? No. So far, my optimism has turned into despair.
Oh, no.
But I want to talk about this as a bigger topic than that. So let's see how we're doing, James. Are we broadcasting? So anyway, this morning,
Yep.
I was just checking in with myself. How am I doing? You know, how am I feeling really? Oh, we have some.
Oh, we have some comments already.
We do.
Elizabeth says, hi there, love the topic. She sends love.
Thank you.
And Catalina says, good evening, great topic. Contrasting emotions. She sends love and musical notes too.
Thank you. Oops. So I asked myself, how am I feeling? And the words that came to me just like immediately were, I am at the intersection of optimism and despair. And I liked that. We have another comment.
And Amy says, I like that title.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully you will like the show and you will relate. So I thought that's really interesting. And I wanted to, talk about both of those sides. But also I want you to think about, where are you? I mean, do you think that you're living at the intersection of optimism and despair, or maybe something else? Love and hate? I mean, it could be anything, right? So I want to talk a little bit about why I have those two polar opposite emotions and what they do for me and what I wish they didn't do.
And we'll see if you can relate or have your own particular variety.
We have another comment.
And Todd says, hi, y'all.
Hi, Todd.
Howdy, Todd.
So I want to talk first about the optimism, the intersection of optimism and despair, because I find myself flip-flopping from one to the other. Now, I know if I were really an elevated person, I would be very and I wouldn't be in despair, and I wouldn't be in optimism. I would just be very, but I'm not. So anyway, I need optimism, guys. You know, optimism is this belief, crazy or not, that things are somehow going to work out. Now, it's not the same as hope, although they can certainly overlap. You know, I could say, well, I'm hopeful that we're going to do well on the show tonight.
And we have another one here. Tracy says hello.
Hello, Tracy.
And she sends Carrie.
Oh, goody. We'll take
Tracy.
it. We'll take it. We'll take it. And Charlie is with us today, as you can see. So, oh, yeah, look, is that cute or what? I was optimistic about Charlie I was also hopeful. So hope seems to me, just to, to make the words a little clearer, to be about something like, oh, I am hopeful that this is going to happen, or I am hopeful that the dog is going to work out, or that we're going to do something. But optimism to me is more about a general state of mind. Like, I tend to be optimistic. Now, when I was a child, I think I did tend to be optimistic about myself and my future. On the other hand, I wasn't that optimistic about the state of the world, and it looks like we have another comment from our friend in Ukraine. So
I'll have to get this translated here.
yes,
Vasily says, "Good morning, my friends. Glad to see you."
and we are glad to see you too.
Vasily.
So I thought that the world was, but I was somewhat more optimistic as a child that we could do something about it, like that I could really help. In that respect, you see what I mean about this? In that respect, I have gone pretty much into despair. But now, does that mean that I'm not going to try to help every day when I have an opportunity? No, because I'm still optimistic that something could be done and I want to be a part of it. So isn't that crazy?
Well, even if it's a small something, it's worth doing.
You see, so 1 second I'm optimistic, like, oh, yes, this is all going to work out. And the next minute it's like, I feel despair. Is there anybody else out there who feels despair about the state of the world? Of course.
I do.
I'm sure a lot of you do. Do any of you also share my optimism? If I don't continue being optimistic, I have nothing but despair. And despair is a dead emotion because it makes us dead. It's like despair means I'm not going to try anymore. I'm not going to do anything. What good is that? Right? So every day when I read the news, I go into despair. Oh, and look, we have a comment.
And Amy says yes and yes.
Yay, yay, yay,
yes.
yay.
She
So
relates.
she does. So I look at the news, and it's usually awful. But then, I go onto my Facebook feed, or I see something else that says we've just discovered one more thing that is hopeful about overcoming Alzheimer's disease, for example. And so I think, why am I going to sit here and be despairing? There is so much going on in science, and it's not just about diseases. People are talking about reversing aging, which I think could be a big problem. I mean, what are we going to do if we have all these old people like us just hanging on forever? There's no room for the young ones. We have to draw a line somewhere. Anyway, so it isn't just in the realm of science and illness and disease, that amazing information. None of it is going to help us. See, so it's like, oh, I'm so optimistic that there's going to be cures, or that there's going to be some help with so many of the illnesses today, and that they aren't going to use drugs and all of this. But then, of course, for me, I'm despairing because none of this is going to happen soon enough to help us. So I could go into despair. But I'm kind of happy that there's some hope there. And another place that we need to keep watching is climate change. Oh my God. And every day you read something. Well, you don't have to read about it. You live through the weather. The weather is awful. It's much worse than it used to be, as I remember it.
Yeah, a lot of freakish weather.
A lot of freakish weather and destruction. And it seems like people are still trying to deny the importance of that. Oh, it's too expensive to fix climate change, but it's not too expensive to have to clean up all the time. Oh, so that's a pretty despairing thing. On the other hand, you read every day that there are advances in learning how to create plant-based proteins that can eliminate the suffering of the animals, the farm animals who we eat.
Not to mention that in regard to reducing the climate changing fossil fuel problems, there's going to be a huge increase in electric vehicles, electric powered vehicles.
Well, and there are new kinds of batteries, and there's
Oh,
all
yeah.
kinds of things. I think we have a
Paul
funny.
says, I don't buy climate change. Laugh out loud.
You don't have to buy it. It's free. Anyway, so do you get what I mean? It's like on the one hand, but then on the other hand, and then on this hand, but then on that hand.
Well, I have a general kind of feeling about this thing, and that is, if my needs are being met, and my relationships are doing well,
yes.
I feel optimistic.
Yes.
And if something goes south in one of my relationships, I don't feel so optimistic. I go more into the despair and the negativity and the anger and the resentment.
That is a very profungus observation, James. You got straight to it. Whether I'm in the optimism or in the despair depends so much on my state of mind. So it is not all that objective, is it?
No.
So that means when we have a tendency to go into despair, if we're noticing that, then we can actually start looking at our state of mind and try to figure out what's dragging it down. And I have the same kind of experiences with my relationships as I do with the state of the world. On the one hand, it seems like it's hopeless, it'll never get better, and then something happens, like you say something like that, and I think, oh, I get all optimistic. Well, I'm crazy because I'm going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Now, wouldn't it be great if I could just stay calm, not get upset when things look bad, and not get whacked out, overjoyed, overly optimistic when things look better? Wouldn't that be better?
Sounds better.
Well, I have a confession to make. I'm not going to do it.
Ah.
I mean, to a small degree, I think we all need to sort of balance out. Because after all, we are so like on a puppet string.
Uh-huh.
1 minute we're reading something in the press about those dirty sons of what doing such and such. And then 3 days later you discover that there's some really good things happening at the same time. Most of us don't even get to see any of the good things because as we know, the media, drama and melodrama sells.
There's a saying in media, if it bleeds, it leads.
That's right. Or it was Mae West said, I don't care what they say about me as long as they're talking about me. I think that was Mae West. Some of you don't know who Mae West is, do you? An actress from the 1930s. Even before our time, but still was well known at the time. So on the one hand, I would say, we really need to start to calm ourselves down and stop reacting every time we hear something, see something, either positive or negative or whatever it is. It's like, oh, and then the worst part is you think something is positive, and then you find out it's a farce. That people are posturing, trying to pretend that they're doing something helpful. So that can be pretty discouraging and disgusting as well. So we do need to calm ourselves down and say, okay, well, let's see. And that is the thing that I can do. Because I can't stop feeling optimistic sometimes because I need to. And I can't help feeling despair sometimes because a lot of things are pretty sucky these days. But I can start to modify and modulate my reactions
Hmm.
and say, okay, maybe I haven't heard the whole story yet. So a lot of times we'll hear something. Somebody will tell us something about so and so, what they did. Or we'll read it in the news. So and so said this. You don't even read the article. You've gotten punched in the gut with the headline, and you really have no idea what they actually mean. Then you start reading the article and you think, well, where exactly did they say that? And what exactly did they say? And it's kind of like shocking to discover that that a lot of it is just like blown up out of proportion. The most insane people are the ones that get quoted the most. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess as you know, there aren't any sane people anymore, but there are. But we're being manipulated through the emotions of optimism and despair. Like, oh, let's rally. We can get Trump reinstated as president, right? Let's go out and rally on that. Or, they're going to overthrow the government or something like that. On the other hand, we have, oh, Trump said this, Trump said that. It's like the two sides. And why can't we just like see that we're being manipulated through our emotions?
And we have another comment from Amy. I like the idea of keeping reactions at bay long enough to actually find out the whole story of whatever I've just heard, read, or seen.
That is very good. I'm glad of that. In fact, that can really apply to us personally. So I'm not trying to say that it's unnatural or wrong to ever feel despair. And I'm not saying that it's always bad to feel optimistic. But just like Amy said, keep our reactions at bay, or at least calm until we get the whole story. So we find out we have some dread disease, right? First reaction, ah! But maybe we find out that it isn't so bad anymore, and there's help and there's hope. Or better yet, let's try to take our reactions and learn something from them. Learn something about ourselves. Learn something about the thing that we are getting all upset about.
Mm-hmm.
Use it as a moment for evolution, a moment for transformation. So I'd like you to be thinking for this moment about something that you may have gotten wildly optimistic about. Oh, I'm going to have a baby, and this baby is going to be a world teacher, right? Well, that is toxic optimism, because what happens is that child can't be a child anymore because we have projected our optimistic beliefs, thoughts, and hopes on that poor child. So you see...
And you've set yourself up for a fall.
Yourself and that child. So you see, you can have, I could call it toxic optimism.
Right.
Or it's like one little thing goes wrong and I just know that the sky is falling. So that's kind of a toxic despair, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we need to realize that we are reacting. And like Amy is saying, we need to start to, even if we prefer optimism and even if we need optimism in order to keep going, let's keep that also from being something out of reality. Because it's when the problem isn't the feelings themselves, it's when they dominate us and we are not in reality more. oh my God, our son is gay. Oh my God, I'm going to die. What am I going to tell Aunt Hilda? Or my child said his or her first word, and it was anti-disestablishmentarianism. My child is a genius. Or I thought it sounded like that. We just twist reality because not only are we manipulated by others, we manipulate ourselves into reactions that are hurtful and damaging. And we have another.
And those first words weren't mama or papa.
No.
My daughter's first words were, nice kitty. The babysitter taught her that.
Oh, no.
Todd says, toxic optimism. I am going to be rich and powerful.
Yeah! Yeah! And supposing you're not, see, then you go into toxic despair.
That's
so
true.
We got to get a grip on our emotions. So I want you to be thinking right now about how do you tend to flip-flop and which flop do you flip? And is it around the same thing? Are you on the same corner? If so, meet me at the corner of optimism and despair. And let's get centered already. And we have another comment.
Oh, here we go from Vasily from Ukraine. Oh, what a wonderful morning. Positive. Thank you.
Thank you, Vasily.
I like to sing that song when I'm feeling down. Oh, what a wonderful morning.
And let's not spread that toxic optimism or toxic despair to other people. Other people, they don't need any more of that. They have enough of their own. So not only do we get bent out of shape, do we get overly optimistic and have unrealistic expectations? Or do we go in despair without real information? Not only do we do that to ourselves, and is it done to us, but we pass it on. Oh no! Oh no! Did you hear that so-and-so, that this? Did you read that? Did you?
Yeah, start to get upset.
Honestly, we are crazy enough. Just as we are. We don't need anyone helping us. So when someone comes to you with that kind of energy, try to help them look at the facts and get grounded. So let's find that intersection where we are in reality and we are looking at all the factors and bring a feeling of optimism into everything we do, because otherwise we'll just kill ourselves. So that is not the idea.
Right.
Of course, you could say, because see, anger and despair are not the same. If you get into being really angry about something because you really believe that it's wrong, that is not despair. Despair is when you say, I give up.
Whereas being fighting mad, you're being pretty active.
Exactly. But even then, think about what you're doing. See if you're exaggerating the bad thing that you're up in arms about. And take a look at that too. So anyway, in your comments, don't forget to tell us what intersection you may be at. And have a wonderful week. Come back next week. Oh, love this show. Share it with anybody and everybody. Please follow our page. Come back every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. for Lighting the Way, Granny Raps and Rocks. And Thursday, we will be playing our improvisational music as usual. And we look forward to seeing you and to seeing you again and again. And leave your comments and tell us the intersection you're at. We hope that this program helped bring some light to something that we all do, and bless us in becoming more conscious, more calm, more aware, and still keeping going.
Yeah.
Love you all.
Hey, bye-bye for now. Thanks for being with us.